Hi there everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to build an efficient Sculk farm. This is currently the most efficient design out there in the Deep Dark Experimental Snapshot 1. Now with the Deep Dark Experimental Snapshot, we got the addition of 5 new blocks. We have the Sculkt Catalyst, the Sculk Shrieker, Sculk Sensor, Sculk Blocks, and Sculk Veins. Oh yeah, we also have the Warden. He's pretty nifty. But anyhow, these 5 blocks can be found in the new Deep Dark biome and also around ancient cities. If we go into Spectator here, you can see I've already found a Deep Dark biome. And you can do this by using the /locate biome command. As you can see, we have a little Sculk patch, we have the veins, the Sculk blocks, the catalysts, the sensors, but no Shrieker. Sometimes there will be a Shrieker spawning around here, other times there won't be. It just depends on your luck in finding them. But when you do find these areas, be careful with the Shriekers, because they will summon a Warden. And the Warden does have 500 health points, so good luck killing it. Now, here we have an ancient city. And in the ancient cities, you can find chests with various types of loot. You'll find potions, bones, snowballs. You can use them as projectiles to set off the sensors or distract wardens. There'll also be enchanted books and whatnot in there. And again, you'll find these patches of Shriekers, the sensors, the catalysts, the Sculk blocks, and the Sculk veins. Now, when you're looking to farm the Sculk sensors and Shriekers, you're going to want to grab this block here, the Sculk Catalyst. And for that, you'll need a Silk Touch hoe. No other tool can harvest it. Now, as you'll see, if I go into survival here and try to break this with a normal hoe, we'll just get experience. So it's not that useful. So if you actually do want to farm it, you'll need to go and get a Silk Touch hoe. Now, the Sculk Catalyst has an interesting feature in that when a mob dies around it, it converts the XP that it would drop into Sculk blocks and Sculk veins. And I can demonstrate by showing you by just flicking this lever. We're going to see a rain of guardians. And as you can see, it spreads the Sculk everywhere. Turn this off for now. Now you can start generating the Sculk sensors and Shriekers when these bubbles, or the Sculk charges, get 4 blocks away from the catalyst. And using that, you can farm these. Now, my first idea on how to farm these was you just have a simple little mechanism where you go back and forth in a water stream, and you have the Sculk blocks generating here, and you just break them. You know, you're holding your Silk Touch hoe, and you go back and forth. But we're not just trying to make a farm, we're trying to make the most efficient farm. And this is not the most efficient way. As you can see, if we start getting mobs in, the charges will go through, right? And we'll start to get some sensors and Shriekers to generate. And we'll get 4 for the 9, or not the 9, 4 for the 8 blocks that we go across. So we're going across, we're just going to break these, right? We can only get a maximum of 4 at a time. No more than that. After a little while of using this design, I thought there must be a way to make it more efficient. So I started to test the most efficient ways to have Sculk generate. Now, this would be running at the maximum amount of XP you could be getting at a time, but it would speed up the tests a little bit. So if we switch this on, we're going to see a rain of Elder Guardians. That'll charge up our Sculk. Now if I add a block here, we'll get a Sculk sensor immediately. If I add a second block, we'll eventually get a second Sculk sensor, or Shrieker. And same thing for a third block. But when you start to see diminishing returns is when you add a fourth block. With 4 blocks, you don't get a fourth sensor. 5 blocks, the same thing. 6 blocks, exactly the same. 7, we get a fourth one. So the more blocks we add, the less sensors or shriekers we'll get. Now, through my tests, I discovered that the only amount of Sculk blocks that you can get with a 1-to-1 ratio to the sensors or shriekers that generate is 1, 2, and 3 blocks. Everything else you start to get less and less and less. And since the player can only break a distance of 5 blocks, there isn't really a point to go above 5 blocks in a strip. If you made it in a rectangle, you could have 5 blocks long, but as you're moving along, you're wasting time with other Sculk sitting idle that can't be broken, and that lowers your efficiency. So now that we know that we can have 1, 2, or 3 output at the max efficiency, we now need to decide, what do we want? Do we want to use 1 block, 2 blocks, or 3 blocks? With 1 block, you limit your spawning spaces. You're still getting the maximum amount of Sculk per block, but you're not getting as much as you would with 3 blocks. Yes, it's still a 1-to-1 ratio, but you have 3 potential spawning spaces for Sculk at a time. That increases your output. As we know, mob death is what equates to the Sculk charge. So what farm would we want to pair this with? Now, my initial thought was we pair it with a Guardian farm. You get a lot of XP, a lot of drops. But then, I remembered that Enderman farms exist. Enderman farms are low effort, and pairing it with this, you can make another low effort farm and get tons and tons of Sculk. So, I then decided to go prototype. And here is our farm. As you can see, it's extremely simple. I decided to go and decorate it a bit, because why not? You have the whole inventory at your command in creative. Now this is a simple 21 by 21 platform. We're using the Endermite trick to draw the Enderman to the center of the platform. This Enderman farm design is based off Ray's works Wither Rose Farm. If you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description so you can go see his video on how to build his Wither Rose Farm. I just adapted the Enderman Farm portion of it to connect up to a Sculk generator. Now as you can see, I have an account down here that would be ready to farm these. Now, I've done a bit of testing to see the outputs, and these are 9 tests so far. All 5-minute tests, too. As you can see, there's a decent amount of Sculk. Now, you have multiple options on how to run this. You could just go in, start the farm up, and immediately start harvesting. But if you start harvesting immediately, you don't get these rates immediately. The charges take some time to build up. So if you sit there for about 10 minutes and let it charge up, you'll start to get rates closer to this. Now, because I have this AFK account here, we're going to be seeing the maximum rates that this could output. And I thought it would be interesting to do a quick 5-minute test on camera. As you can see, this is empty. Our account isn't harvesting anything because the clicker is forcing it to eat. And we can start the test by switching the account into survival mode. Now I'm going to do this and also start a 5-minute timer. 3, 2, 1, start. And that's our 5 minutes. Now, one issue that I have noticed while running this farm is that these hoppers can get backed up. Now, this is an extreme case because this has been sitting here and accumulating Sculk charge for so long. But, obviously this one's going to be a lot higher than these average cases over here. Oh. I think we'll just help this along a little. Again, keep in mind, if you let the Sculk charges build up for a long time, you'll see rates like this. But in order to get the breaking as fast as you saw this account do it, you'll need haste 2 and an efficiency 5 silk touch hoe. Without that, you won't be able to break him as fast as this account does. Let's wait a minute for all the items. Oh, looks like all the items are in. And as you can see here, that's a lot of Sculk in just 5 minutes. And when you build up the charge like this, it should maintain itself if you keep breaking. Now, I've gone ahead and calculated all the averages for the amount of Sculk you get as an output, and our average after 9 tests ends up with a result of about 138 blocks per minute. Now, if you go ahead, multiply that by 60, divide by 64, we're getting, on average, 129 stacks per hour of just the Sculk sensors. I didn't include the Sculk shriekers. Now, each Sculk sensor that you break outputs 5 experience. So if we take every Sculk sensor that we generate, on average, multiply that by 5, you're creating 41,460 experience points per hour. For context, 30 levels is 1,395 experience points. So in your farm output, you'll be able to get from 0 to 30 levels 29 times by breaking all of those. Just the sensors on their own. Now you could also use them for contraptions, like let's say you want to make it so that if your portal in the nether breaks, it gets automatically relit. You can do that with the Sculk sensor. Sculk sensors are very useful for their experience that they hold, and for their ability to pick up vibrations. Now, in this world, I've turned mob drops off so we don't get immense lag from everything down here. But if you wanted to collect those ender pearls, you could always put a hopper minecart in this block here, have a hopper under it, and collect it, and collect the ender pearl drops, much like how I collect the Sculk here. I've got hopper minecarts in the blocks to immediately pick up the Sculk that falls off. Just remember, when you construct a farm like this, you need to make sure that every block around you is at least light level 11 in order to prevent the warden from summoning and coming in and killing you, as you wouldn't want to do that. Another important thing when you're building this is to make sure you have it at the lowest point in the world. The lower your spawning platform is in the world, the higher rates of mob spawning you'll get. And I achieved a low level by using pointed dripstone at the bottom of this drop chute. Pointed dripstone, as you know, increases the amount of fall damage you take. So in order to kill the Endermen, instead of having to drop them 44 blocks down, which would cause the platform to be higher, we only need to drop them around 23, 24 blocks down to kill them and send a charge to the Sculkt Catalyst, which is over here. Now, of course, you don't need your storage to sit off to the side like this. You could have it pumped around, sent to a central storage system all the way on the main island, whatever you want. Just when you build it, make sure you have every surface be at least light level 11. If you want to build a movement system to get your items from your farm somewhere else, you are safe to make it out of glass. Because if we do a little testing here, we can see he won't spawn in. But you do need to be careful with your chests. Watch, the minute I put a chest down. If I put chests down over there, we should see a warden. Yup. So, glass is safe. Leaves are also safe. You can't spawn on leaves. Let's do one more test. Well, let's expand the area just to make sure. And this is how you would normally block water, or to increase the length of your item stream. Well, that was an unforeseen outcome. Alright, it looks like this would be safe too. But just having it sitting open like this would probably be a different story. Yep. Alright, so when you build your item, water streams, just make sure to have glass above it. That'll prevent warden spawning. So when you build this farm, just make sure that there's no area that the warden can spawn in and end your AFK session prematurely. If you enjoyed taking a look at this farm design and how the Sculk farming mechanics worked, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing. And if you do use this, or use anyone else's farm designs for that matter, make sure to give them credit. We all appreciate it. Anyhow, thank you for watching this video, and have a great rest of your day.